Hey everyone, Coach Reg, GM, head coach of We Are D3, breaking down another team for Zoom the TBT. Today, Boeheim's Army and their 2-3 zone. Obviously, when everybody talks about Syracuse basketball, they think of the 2-3 zone. And it's not just any 2-3 zone, it's the best zone out there. It's not just something that they do haphazardly for one or two possessions. This cumulative effect of running it throughout the entire game, that's what takes the toll on their opponents. There are many times when I've coached with it where a team has gone up 12-0, just banged 4 threes right in a row, but then over a course of an entire game, as your opponent's legs get tired and they're shooting deep threes and seeing the same set over and over again, you get complacent. And next thing you know, you win by 12, 14 points on the backside at the end of that game. Now, obviously, the whole purpose of this zone is it's a different look. It's played with many man principles. They'll trap out of it, in particular the corners, and both on the three-point arc, but also the short corners as well. And then also, they're going to adjust that zone to how you play it. So you can't just have one play in the bag. You got to have 2, 3, 4. Last year in TBT, we had 5, and we had some pretty good success with that. Number one weakness to this zone, though, is the rebounding. So expect men of Mackey, especially with big man Haas down low, you're going to see a lot of men of Mackey crashing the offensive glass, getting some putbacks. Hopefully Syracuse makes that a point of emphasis. I believe they always have and they always will. But in particular, that's going to be men of Mackey's kind of staple here. Once the shot goes up, expect them to crash hard. Now, in terms of offense versus Syracuse's zone, a couple plays really are common going against the zone, and I'll show you them right now. Now, the first play that you'll see that's really common is screening the outside of the zone. So what's going to happen here, the ball's going to be with one, and the typical zone alignment is there'll be one right here, be one right here, be one right here, a guy on the ball, and a guy right here. So what's going to happen, ball gets swung here. Okay, this guy's gonna stop it and then bump down, but in particular, this guy is gonna start to cover, okay? So now we have this typical alignment of right here, we have a guy on the ball and a guy covering there. Now the ball's with 2. Now what's gonna happen, that's just a decoy action because the whole purpose is this guy, opposite wing, will typically screen in here on the zone. Ball would get swung, and now all of a sudden you have this defender, X4, defending 2 people, and one in the drive, the shooter in the corner. That's the most common play here. If the center steps up, then they're going to dump it down low. If X4 steps up, then he's going to pass it to the corner. If he doesn't step up, then it's a wide open lane to the basket. That's the most common play versus this Syracuse zone. My favorite play versus Syracuse's zone, and I've had this played against me when I coached it. I also ran it against Syracuse, Boeheim's Army last year in the TBT, and had some really great success. So it's just a 1-4 alignment here. You have this ball handler up top. They got to be a good shooter. But right here, the double posts on the elbows, that makes X5, the defender, really make a decision here, because what's going to happen is we just want to rotate this ball on the arc and try and get it into one of these elbows. Now, when it goes into 4, let's just say, it could be 1 pass, it could be 2 passes, whatever. Well, then all of a sudden, this is where Syracuse's zone starts to break down. Because what's going to happen, you have the ball in the heart of the zone. Or the 5-man, the opposite elbow is going to drop. So now The center's responsibility in that zone is to take anything middle. So now they got to choose. Are we going to give up the free throw jumper, or are you going to give up down on the block? Now, in Syracuse's principles, they're going to let that big take that block. But also what we're going to do is now to take this defender out of the equation, X2 here, that wing zone defender, we're going to drop 2 to the corner. So now, look at what we have here. We have a guy on the block. We have a shooter in the corner. This is where it starts to get chaotic. So the shots are right here, or the guy obviously with the ball. So you got to have a big that can shoot that elbow jumper. Now, what's also key is most often when you're going against Syracuse's zone, okay, and the ball gets middle, 99, if you're not accustomed to playing against it, 99% of teams will be looking to passes here. But reality, the pass to make, because these are covered by their guards, they fan out. The pass to make is right back to this middle guy. That's why it's so important you have a shooter right there, because that's based on Syracuse's zone principles. That's the shot that's going to be open 99% of the time. Now, obviously, we can talk about Syracuse's zone scheme for days and days and days. It's one of the best defensive schemes in basketball history. But you got to come in with a plan of attack and not just one way to attack the zone, because this is not your high school 2-3 zone. This is matchup zone at its finest with man principles, and it's drilled over and over in Syracuse's culture. That's why Boeheim's Army has had such success in the past, because these players have had it ingrained since they were 17, 18 years of age. So they know all the principles. It's going to be important that men of Mackey come in with 3, 4, 5 different looks to go at this zone and keep Syracuse guessing. Because when Syracuse gets out of that zone and they go to man, they are not comfortable playing man. If men of Mackey can do it, then men of Mackey stands a really good shot of moving on. If Boeheim's Army is allowed to dictate their will with that zone and have men of Mackey settle for 3s and 3s and 3s and 3s and getting stagnant on offense, then Boeheim's going to win this one in a landslide. Thanks again for watching. Talk to you soon. Here we go. TBT, basketball is back. Talk to you soon.